Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the 𝗏𝗏𝐶R studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at 𝗏𝗏𝐶Rstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Hey, what is up, Conroe? This is Rick TRC. You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 𝗏𝗂𝗫𝗄𝐿P Conroe and 106.1 on 𝗏𝗂𝐶C LP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Toast of the Town with Kristi and Mel. It is Hump Day Wednesday and Hump Hour on Wednesday. Yes. And it's the last day of the month.
It is.
Hallelujah.
That part I'm not so thrilled about.
Oh, I am.
Because September and October
it's going to be worse than August
are
work-wise.
going to be just crazy.
I know.
But, that's life. But anyway, I think we need to roll into our guests kind of
I do,
early.
me
We are going to cover some great Labor Day events that are coming up this weekend here in and around town. But we have a guest with us today, and we want to make sure we get all the time in with him that we can. So, Judge Matt Beasley, how are you doing today?
I am doing fine. How are y'all?
It's
been a while.
It's been far too long.
I know. I missed the radio show.
I know.
I
know.
I miss you too.
We need to do it like old school and like just roll in here one day and bring the Beasley podcast back.
We should.
Get the boys in here, let them take over.
I want
the
Brooks
mics.
to get on the radio.
Brooks would rock the radio.
Yeah, he would. He would be awesome.
cute.
Actually, both your kids would.
Bren would rock it too.
Bren-
Bren would rock it, no doubt.
Bren rocks everything. She's awesome.
I cannot believe that child. She is so freaking gorgeous. I mean, she's cute. She's perky. She's gorgeous, though.
Yeah,
Anyway.
good luck with that.
Yeah.
Judge.
Yeah.
Why do you think I ran for judge?
Yeah, that's right. So that way you can,
Put them away.
Put 'em away.
Put them away.
Yeah. So
Life sentence.
what's new in your world? You've been busy.
Yeah, just running the JP court down there. We're really busy. COVID happened. It screwed all the court system, judicial systems up. But we've been keeping up with our cases, and we're still hearing 22 filed cases, so we're doing good.
So are you still one of the busiest courts in the state?
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
So, so for those that don't know, give everybody kind of a rundown of what a JP court, what kind of cases you actually see.
Okay, so the Justice Court is a constitutionally created court. I'm proud of that. A lot of the other courts are created by the legislature. The legislature was created by the Constitution, so we're kind of right there in the very founding paperwork of the creation of the state. We hear small claim cases up to $20,000, so if you need to sue someone and you feel like you've been damaged, you can seek a judgment from the JP court and have it heard pretty quickly.
And you don't have to have an attorney for that.
You don't have to. Some people do, and a lot of people don't. It's
Yeah.
still kind of the court that's considered the people's court, and you can show up and plead your case. And if you're righteous in your lawsuit, you'll win a judgment from the Justice Court.
Awesome.
Yep. We do truancy. We do juvenile court. We do credit card debt cases. We do evictions. We do the death inquest for our precincts in the county. We are notaries, and I feel like I'm missing out on something. We marry people, so we're kind of an all-purpose
You're
courthouse.
Like all full spectrum.
Yeah.
From like birth to death.
I could marry someone. In 2 weeks, and then
Do an inquest.
do an inquest, or
Yeah.
they're getting sued for something.
Yeah. So, speaking of the gamut that you run, one of the things that you brought up, I know a lot of people here locally probably got the alert from Montgomery County Sheriff's Department yesterday about a suspect that was suspected of murder, and they were going to go arrest him, and they located him in the Willis Kroger parking lot, and he actually took his own life.
Mm-hmm.
And we see, we hear all these tragic cases every day, kids dying of overdoses. You see just all kinds of various things, and y'all have to go out and deal with those.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I know that y'all take time to, give each other weekends off so you cover the whole county on those weekends. Number one, how time consuming is that, or how much of that time does your take? And number two, even with your what's the word I'm looking for? Why are the words not coming to me today?
I don't know. You look like me.
I know. Golly. With your law enforcement background, what kind of emotional toll does that take on you?
It's pretty hard. Actually, a lot of the job of a Justice of the Peace, including the death inquest, it's delivering a lot of bad news. It's either your family member has passed, you're getting evicted, you're in trouble with your school. So
this is all. What a downer.
Yeah, well, occasionally we can help folks,
Yeah.
And that's good. And somebody has to do the job. It is very. Sometimes I come home and I'm emotionally just exhausted.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I literally I need a break. But the deaths they come in all types. It's either someone that's expected to pass, and to someone who's just abruptly gets into a car wreck or overdoses or commits suicide or is killed and murdered, whatever, all those things. And it just comes all the time. I mean, I got 2 calls last night. I got a seizure warrant I had to sign at 2 a.m. On some dogs that were in a stolen car. I think I do around 700 deaths a year, something like that. So
Wow.
It's a lot.
So is there any movement towards the county, hiring a medical examiner, or medical examiner and coroner? Is that the same kind of idea?
Well,
Same kind of
your
job?
Justice of the Peace is just kind of your coroner system in the state. So we're considered kind of the coroner of our precincts, and we can also do the county.
Mm-hmm.
We can help our adjacent county too if they ask us. And 𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗀𝘀𝗁, the county judge, he is the backup for the JPs in that duty too. And then the medical examiner is actually an office created by the Commissioner's Court. And then once that's created, they take over all the death investigations for the county. And the county's moving towards that. They just built a really state-of-the-art facility. They have death investigators. They have 3 or 4 pathologists, doctors. And so they're working towards that. I think we would be probably the next county in the state to get that. When it comes, I don't know. I'd say probably in the next 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that something that you support? Is that
Absolutely,
yeah.
100%. I supported it the first time I ran.
Yeah.
There's just so many. As anyone grows, you can't continue to use the same people to do even more work.
Right.
And that much, if you look at law enforcement or the commissioner's office or constables, as the county's grown, they've gotten more people. Yet the JPs continue to do the 5 JPs that do all the deaths, and they just continue to grow and grow and grow. And the system really wasn't even designed to have 5 judges do 2,300 deaths in a county.
Yeah, well, I was fixing to say, with the growth of our county, I mean, it's not like the people aren't continuing to come.
They were the same 5 JP spots 20 years ago. We're doing the same. They were doing the death cause, and now we're over 600,000 folks, and we still have the same 5 people doing it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Especially on top of everything else that you have going on too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the county grows responsibly. I think that particular issue is coming, and I think it's due. We're due for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so you also mentioned that y'all do a lot of school cases because y'all work directly with your constables in your precinct. As having 2 kids that are seniors in high school,
Go Wildcats.
Go Wildcats.
How is Willis doing? Is Willis doing good? The good folks at Willis.
Willis is good.
Yeah, that's good.
Willis has got some interesting stuff going on.
Really?
Yeah. And I think we need to touch on that here in a little bit.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't get past the San Jack very often.
I know. Yeah, we need to catch you up on the north side.
Yeah, right.
But you hear the stories that the kids bring home, which is a fight here, there. My daughter's car actually got tagged for a drug search. That was very dramatic for a 16-year-old girl. And you hear all these things that go on. is it challenging to deal not only with some of these students in this day and age, but also some of the parents?
Have you been to like a sporting event for high school kids, middle school
I
kids?
have, yeah.
It's kind of like you bring that to the courthouse, and that's what
Really?
we do with. Yeah,
It's a little
yeah.
sporting, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool to help the kids. A lot of times they just need a little motivation.
Yeah.
And so I've had kids come back with their diplomas and show me, you know, hey, I passed. So that's really cool. But yeah, I mean, the school district files truancy cases, and I have Grand Oaks, Oak Ridge, the Woodlands, College Park.
Oh, you've got a lot.
I've got pretty much all the high schools. So I get a lot of truancy
Those
cases.
punk high school kids.
Yeah, punk high school kids.
Is it mostly just truancy? I mean, or do you handle?
No, we do the criminal stuff with
Yeah.
juvenile, but truancy is kind of the one I pay. I put a personal touch to it just because I feel like that's the ones I can help try to motivate to get them graduated.
Yeah.
The other stuff, they make mistakes. They usually do something the court requires, and we defer it, put a deferral, and it's dismissed. So, I mean, it's a very, I would say, a pretty forgiving court. But the truancy stuff, I want to get these kids graduated.
How many days do they miss before they get turned over to you? I mean, it's not like 1 or 2 days.
Well,
it's-
there's a minimum, really, but they usually go past the minimum.
yeah.
And it's kind of up to the school district. I just deal with Conroe ISD,
Yeah.
and they have kind of a number when they start filing those cases. And then, New Caney and Splendora, I don't really know what Willis does, but they all kind of do things a little bit different. But yeah, I get a bunch of kids in there.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, they'll go get their GED, but they're working towards it, so.
Well, I think it's so important, especially, keeping kids motivated, especially post-COVID, keeping kids motivated to keep up with their schoolwork. They basically had a year where they, got to kind of do things at their own pace and didn't really have that high level of commitment that was required for schoolwork. I mean, I saw what my kids were doing at home, and they were doing schoolwork, but, it wasn't like a full day of work. And I think, too, that it changed kind of some of their behaviors and habits and everything.
Well, you would have kids that would the whole COVID thing, it messed everything up.
Yeah.
Because they were getting filed for truancy, but they weren't logged in, or something happened to their login.
Or,
It's like,
yeah.
well, how do you really know what happens when they don't have to be somewhere physically and are
Yeah.
counted? So that was a big mess. But that no longer is a problem.
Right.
We had a lot of issues with COVID. People didn't know how to present their evidence. People were Zooming when they were driving their cars. I had a guy it was like a $10,000 landscaping job, and he was the defendant, and he was like driving his truck somewhere. He's like, I've got to be somewhere. I'm like, okay, well, thank you for showing up. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, I guess, because I know you, I guess what I really want to know is, how you feeling about Biden these days?
Oh, Joe Biden?
Yeah, that one.
That
Oh,
one.
man.
I don't have enough time, do I?
He's something else, huh?
He is. He and Hunter.
Hunter. I don't think he's going to run again. If I were to bet money, I don't think he's going to run again.
I don't think he'll be the same guy in 2 years.
Yeah.
Look how much he's changed since he got elected.
Yeah.
Well, and I will say this in fairness, and this is the most in fairness thing I'll ever say about Joe Biden, but, being president physically takes its toll on everybody that goes into office. And with everything that we've had to deal with, even though, there's still a lot of denying all the situations that are actually going on the national political scene right now. I mean, can you imagine just how worn out you'd be?
Well,
No.
the other side of fairness is he aware of everything that goes on?
I don't think he's aware of much.
That's my point. It's kind of hard to be stressed about stuff you don't know.
And
But-
I mean, American people elected him, quote unquote, elected him to do the job. And I think just there wasn't really, because all that stuff was going on, there wasn't really much of campaigning from anyone, right? Especially from him. You didn't really see
Yeah.
him much. And so I wonder, is he okay? Is he all,
Yeah.
and his family would have known that. And if he wasn't, I think they would be like, you shouldn't do this. But
So
Who knows?
I had a call this morning from a woman who said something about one of our candidates in another county, doesn't have anything to, said, he's just, I just don't know how we're going to get him elected because he's just not nice to people sometimes. I said, well, he has a hard time hearing and that kind of thing. I said, so that might be part of it. And I'm kind of, she was a little out of sorts about it. And she goes, well, if we just don't tell him when the events are, how are we going to get him elected and people can't see him? I said, I don't know, work for Biden. Let's find a way.
That's funny.
She says, yeah. She goes, we're going to have to put up equipment in his basement. I said, I'm kidding. I can see she's already started construction.
This next cycle, this next presidential cycle is going to be interesting. Yeah.
Oh,
No doubt. It's,
Not only just nationally, but I think locally. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff.
well,
going on.
and I think it's one of those things too that it's become a different political atmosphere, and we've talked about this on a few different levels. With the way local politics is starting to mirror some of national political tactics, you know. We've seen it in some local races here. You're starting to see it bleed into school board races all over the county, and it's getting a lot more competitive. It's getting a lot more serious, a lot more cutthroat.
It's good for Moxie. It's good for Moxie. This is sponsored by Moxie. This little ad.
This ad brought to you by Moxie Innovative.
and I approve this message.
But you see a lot of this going on, and you know, what was it in May? You know, we were talking about, the Democratic Party is really in trouble when we get to the midterms because of all these things going down. You had inflation, you had unemployment, you had war in Ukraine. It was making us look a little weak. You had all these things going on, and then you have a leak in the Supreme Court that comes out, and once again, I'm going to say this one more time for people in the back, that didn't outlaw abortion, that said, hey, we're going to take this issue and we're going to give it back to somebody more local to you guys that represents y'all more directly. And it gave them fuel and fire, and now you see actually an uptick in approval ratings for the Democratic Party now because they, latch a hold to this passionate topic and run with it. And, so we have that. You've got, now they're saying, we might be going into a recession, but man, we're adding more jobs, and look at all these businesses coming back, and they're changing the rhetoric. How much of that do you listen to? Because I think that's one of the things we all battle with, because we all want to stay informed, but we don't know if we're being informed or if we're getting, opinions laid on us. Yeah. So how much of that do you listen to on this national front anymore?
I don't really listen to much of it, really. With the abortion thing, I've always just put it to a referendum. If the people of Texas want abortion and you give them a chance to vote on it and they vote for it, then either live here with it or move to a state where they don't want it.
Right.
And I think if you gave the people the opportunity to vote on it, I think you'll find that some things that, abortion's like really, really big to some folks, and I get that. To other folks, it's like the opposite. Like, we're really not into all that.
Yeah.
So how many of those folks are here in Texas, I think?
well,
I think nationally, if you watch national news, they're going to say that
Everybody's up in arms about it.
right. But I think when it comes down to just your people in your neighborhood, how many of them actually have any interest in it?
right. And that I stood up in a Republican meeting one day and I said, I think we ought to just quit talking about abortion. And they all looked at me and you heard these gasps. Melanie's a liberal. No, I just think it's a very personal
I've never
thing,
heard
and
anyone call you a liberal.
I've heard them call you lots of other things, Mel, but never a liberal. Anyway.
I plead the fifth.
Exactly. Kristi's even called me some of them.
But I haven't called her liberal.
Anyway, I just think that if we just hedge the social, now I don't mean hedge in a bad way. I mean, you can talk about, no, that's not what we believe in. Move on.
Yeah, you could take the social issues, put them to a referendum, see how they turn out locally, and then move on to the things that we can actually get done. I get that for sure.
Well, and and I think too, that it's become such a hot topic. It's funny, some of the local candidates that get endorsements from groups that where abortion has absolutely nothing to do with their jobs. And it's like, why, I understand the principles. I understand that. But I don't understand if their main tenet is, hey, I deserve this job because I'm, fiscally conservative, because I believe in small government, because I believe in doing the right thing, but I have absolutely nothing to do with the abortion topic. Why has that become such a mainstay for some of our candidates? Because it's one of those things that, again, causes such a rift. I mean, we've seen the rift in our local party too. And it's like this constant battle, and it's like, okay, well, we're missing the forest for the trees kind of deal.
So the coal miners of Alabama, they endorsed me. I shouldn't use that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think I could find a way to spin it, but
the local 453 union workers want to
Exactly.
support me.
You might have some coal cases coming in.
Coal cases. Yeah, I think that, I don't know. I mean, I never really tried to seek endorsements generally from really anyone. I just kind of ran my race, and when people were like, I want to support you,
Yeah.
I want to endorse you, I would go with that, but I never
so
really looked around to all the different groups and
To
stuff.
beg and plead for them.
Right.
So over in where we also have a number of clients over in Jefferson County, over in the southeast, and the people on the radio have heard me say that, and of course you know it, but they have a lot of unions over there.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that these people did, hit the ground, was start going to union meetings. And I'm like, you don't really think you're getting an endorsement from a union, do you? Well, we better. And I mean, it was cutthroat when all that
Really?
was going on. Oh yeah, we got a few. We picked up a few, but we meaning the Republicans.
Yeah.
It's cutthroat. And none of it is affected by any of the people that were seeking it.
Yeah.
Either side, Democrat or Republican. It's crazy. I
That's-
don't even know
that's
why.
weird.
And then I watched people go nuts in clerical job seeking firefighter endorsement. Okay, I get that the firefighters might want a certain person in the office, but that would just be because they lean one way or left or right.
Mm-hmm.
Because generally, if they don't affect the firefighters' budget,
Mm-hmm.
or they don't affect the firefighters'
The ordinances
ordinances, the parameters under which they work,
Mm-hmm.
then I don't really understand why. Well, I don't understand, but by golly, they got them, and we used them, and we let everybody know, and it's wildly popular over there. I understand.
Well,
firefighters.
look at the firefighters here in Conroe or the Woodlands. And
I know they
Very
just do.
politically active.
Well, they're politically active. They want good people to do those jobs.
Yeah.
And they vote as a block. So
Right, right, and I get that. But
yeah, but
it
like
just-
the abortion point, like if I went and got the abortion folks to say I'm pro-life, which I am, we endorse them, I can't do anything to affect that.
Right, right.
Which
Right.
is kind of to your point, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why people do that.
I don't either. I mean, I can see, like where you've got law enforcement agencies wanting the right people in office, just like they want judges that are going to support their arrests, that are going to, rule judiciously, that are going to take the time and they're knowledgeable of the ordinances and everything that they're governing for. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
To me, but it's just some of these other things. It seems like it's gotten a little bit out of control, and it's kind of muted the messaging that I think needs to get out there, and why, like we work so hard to communicate with people and get the true messaging out there, and I think sometimes it gets kind of lost in the noise, if you will.
And all the endorsements.
Yeah.
So I read. I should send this to you. I read a letter that was written by my great uncle, grandfather, something. I can't remember what he is.
Obviously, it was very important.
Uncle or grandfather. Uncle/grandfather.
Exactly.
Hyphenated.
I'm my own grandpa.
Hyphenated.
I can't remember which it is. Henry Shuttle. Okay, so I'm guessing a grandfather. Anyway, it was generations back, and he ran for. It was like collections, but they didn't call it tax assessor collector. But it was like, anyway, and the letter he wrote to all of and mailed out to all the people. He was so kind and so eloquent, and I thought, man, if only they'd go back to that. And so I went to my dad and I said, listen to how, because my dad will yell at the television, I promise you, every time the news is on. And so I said, Dad, listen, look, read this. Read what he wrote and just, and understand that he was being respectful to the voter and wow, what, you know, and of course in my mind I'm getting all Pollyanna-like, you know, and my dad goes, yeah, he didn't win. He wasn't up. And goes back to clicking the television. I'm just telling you.
So another thing that I think we've seen Judge Keogh and the billboard that he put in South County kind of warning criminals from coming over here to over into Montgomery County because we prosecute over here. You know, we have a pretty great judicial system here in Montgomery County.
No, there's no doubt about it.
We have a lot of really great judges, and we have a lot of great justices of the peace, and you guys really work together a lot, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We've got a great team. I think the last time I checked, probably 80% of the courts, all the courts, were in the plus 100 in clearing cases.
It's amazing.
You can go down
awesome.
to, there's Harris County cases they're still on 18, 19 cases filed in JP court. So we're talking about 3 years to hear a case.
That's astonishing.
Yeah. So we've got good folks. There's no doubt. The judges in Montgomery County are good. We have really good judges. And the JPs, we work together. We have all 5 of us. We work together well. We're very reflective of the areas we come from. You know, we meet on occasion, and we pretty much do everything together.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I think what you want.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, since y'all all have a constable in your precinct, and that you work really close with Constable Gable.
I do, yeah. Absolutely.
And he does such a great job. You know, I see him in the community so much. One thing that I love about you guys is that you're all visible, and you know, being a court of the people, I think that's really important that people see you not only ruling on these things that are so locally important, but that you're supporting the kids in the community, that you're taking the time to talk to these truancy cases and give them some ways where they can actually, you know, change direction and actually better their lives.
Yeah. No, it's
And that's the way, but it's interesting that you say that because that's the way I think it was Travis that set up the statutory constable and JP system. But anyway, he set it up that way because the sheriffs and the judges were too busy. So he started breaking them into smaller groups, and anyway, and that's what set up our system. And I think it's really they should all follow that, regardless of what the structure of the government is or what department. If everybody would bring local and bring it all in and handle things locally and then hand the answers up, and I think that's the way it's supposed to work, and it really never has.
yeah. Well,
But that has y'all's departments have.
Constable Gable and I get along great. I mean, we work together.
Well, statutorily, it's in the statutes. You have to get along.
Well, but I can point you to some that
I'm
that
teasing.
don't. Yeah.
I'm teasing. They don't.
We get along great, and you know, I make rulings, and he has to go pretty much execute these writs from the court. And to me, I just sign the writ, and and they go to the constable, and he has to make this thing on paper into a reality for someone. And that's, when you think about it, it's not easy for me. It's just I sign my pen.
Right.
But he executes those writs well. People, I mean, even doing that, you have to have a certain customer service and care about folks to do it right, and he does it right. And then all the processes, they're busy. They're really, I mean, we're busy, so they have to be busy, right? And that's just from the court work, not the patrolling or all that other stuff.
And when he executes these writs for you, he has to put his people at risk going out.
Right.
And I do. I take that very seriously.
Yeah.
I've worked for guys that do all that, and that's just
Tough business, for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So we talked about the different kind of cases that you do. What takes up most of your court docket time?
I mainly do most of the civil work. So the criminal stuff usually goes to the prosecutor in like an arraignment type pretrial setting. And the DA's pretty good at making good offers to people if they want to make an offer. If they're not guilty, they're going to want a trial, and that's when I actually come in and I try the case. Other than that, they do like a pretrial diversion or deferred for these defendants, and they're reasonable and people take them. So I generally don't even see the criminal folks. I mainly just deal with all the civil trials.
Anything fun and interesting that you can talk about?
Oh man, I've seen just about everything you could probably see. I mean, I've met some characters in court. I'm trying to think. Sometimes I'm like, is this really happening?
Am I being punked?
Some of these folks that come in and defend themselves in like a situation that just like preposterous excuses.
Oh, that stuff is all the time. I mean that's why we have shows with the judges, the TV judges, because it's entertainment.
Exactly. Well, and you hear all these, like, do you have any Judge Judy, like, he tore my dress or he burnt my wedding dress, set it on fire, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Just so gonna have to come in and watch.
You should. Some of it is, I'm like, sometimes the clerks will like stop what they're doing and come around and sit in court because they want to hear what happened.
Oh, that's awesome.
How funny.
Yeah.
I know. So do you have like a list? Like, I think y'all need to start listing these cases with like a little summary. Like, y'all ain't gonna believe this.
So there's actually a JP book written, I think his name was Mark Dunn. I have a copy of it. I can share it with y'all, but he went around to all the JPs in Texas and basically just got stories from the
Crazy
JP
stories.
courts,
Yeah.
and he made a book about
That's
it.
fantastic.
And Texas A&M University published it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that is something that people need to pay attention to, if for nothing else, just so you know how not to behave if you ever end up in JP court. Because, we see, it's like the pictures from Walmart that you see on social media, things that are just preposterous that you would never expect to see. I can imagine that they show up in JP court too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We see it all, for sure.
Some people just don't care, Kristi. They just really don't care
know.
how they look.
I know.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether they're talking or dressing.
So you are up for re-election
I am.
in November, and you have an opponent.
I do.
Yes.
November 8th.
And you never stop.
No.
You never stop campaigning.
No.
Yeah, you had a great fundraiser this year.
Had a good fundraiser.
Yeah.
Been knocking on doors.
Been knocking on doors. meeting
Really?
people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
for you.
Getting ready to put some signs out.
I'm going to put some signs
know.
out. Yeah.
Way back in the day when you first ran, I remember this wonderful little aspect of your campaign called Flat Mat.
I know. I don't know what happened to that. Someone has it. I don't know who
We've
has
got to
it.
find Flat Mat.
Yeah.
So if you're out there listening and you've happened upon a flat mat on a
We
on
need
a
it back.
popsicle
From a
stick,
popsicle stick. Yeah.
yeah.
That was cool
We're-
because it
we're
was like
doing-
popping up everywhere.
We're
awesome.
doing one in in Jefferson County.
Oh, cool.
We're gonna and it won't be as cool because it's not flat mat because that part worked out perfectly. But we're gonna
We're gonna do
make-
rocks in a box.
exactly.
What's his
Flat-
name?
Her name is
Roxanne.
Rocks in a box. I
Rocks
like
in a
that.
box. I know.
That's cool.
We could put a box on the bottom half
That's
of
what
her
I'm saying.
face.
or you
and
could
just-
wind
yeah.
it up and pop.
Oh.
Put her face
Oh,
on
now
that.
see, now we're getting real.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she wants everybody to hold one.
Oh, okay. We need multiple rocks
yeah,
in a
we
box.
need multiple rocks
Yeah.
in a box.
So, looking forward to the November election, you still take that very seriously, even though we live in a pretty red county, and there's some sense of security that comes with that, because you believe in fighting for your job every time around.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be a candidate, you might as well be a candidate.
Yeah.
So now
Proud of you.
my strategy, your strategy changes depending on what you're doing, but I care about my job and what I do. So
And you do it really well.
I think I do. The Democrats don't think I do.
Well, they don't get a vote. Oh wait,
right.
they do.
They're going to vote for Beasley anyway.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I know, it's easy, vote Beasley.
Yeah, it's easy.
Anything else that we need to know about your job that everybody else needs to know about your job that most people don't know? What's your favorite thing about going to work every day?
I mean, it's a satisfying job. You usually, when you make a ruling, you hear a case, and you decide something for someone. That's it's like kind of like when I used to work with NOAC or when I was a police officer. When you put a road on the ground or improve a ditch, you can see the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I kind of get to see that every day, thousands of times a day. It seems like.
Hours and
But
hours
yeah,
on
it's a
end.
sense of just knowing that you start something and you can see it through and finish it.
And And you're doing weddings.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Doing weddings.
yeah.
And
That's
having
the
fun.
that's one of the best parts of the job, honestly, because people are all happy with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's excited.
Most of the time, someone leaves and they're unhappy.
At least one party in the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Well, see, the way about being a judge is when you make a ruling, the person that wins is like, well, he's just doing his job, right? That's what he should have done anyways. I was the winner the whole time.
Entitlement.
And then the other person's like, man, that judge doesn't know what he's doing.
He's an idiot.
He's wrong. He's terrible. And the other person's like, yeah, he should have done that anyway. So you really don't win with anyone in there. But the people.
So sad. I feel like I need to bring you a Snickers every day. or
No, it's. I mean, I don't need like a high five or anything. But the weddings are certainly most of the time people leave. Everyone leaves happy.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Unless they're drinking heavily, in which case,
Yeah.
maybe not.
I've seen some where I'm like, are you sure?
You want to think about this a few
You want
more
to have a
minutes?
recess real quick?
That's what Keo said to us.
Did he?
He goes, yeah, these rings look okay. You know, and this is in the middle of the wedding. You know, some of these cheap ones we see, well, they're not so nice, you know, and you got to wonder, how long is this going to last?
He said that in the ceremony. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Keo.
Killing it.
Killing it with the ring. Get him, Judge. I love it.
So do you do a lot of ceremonies in your office or most of your stuff outside?
I barely do any outside.
Yeah.
Usually that's for like friends or something. Occasionally I'll do it if it's like close or whatever.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's during in between the court dockets and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So how many do you say in like a month do you typically do?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, really, that many?
Well, I mean, it kind of ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
I mean, after COVID, it was like everyone wanted to get married
Right.
at a courthouse.
Right.
And that just came down to people didn't want to travel,
Yeah.
couldn't book a place,
Yeah.
and then their families didn't want to come.
Yeah.
So it was a lot after COVID. Before that, it wasn't. I mean, I think it's went up a tremendous amount since after the COVID period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate, as a voter and as a resident of Montgomery County, I appreciate the work that you're doing.
Well, thank you.
I know you've got rough days that hit you pretty hard.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we all do, but, you know, given, you know, your line of work, you really kind of run the whole gamut.
Well, that means a bunch to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so keep doing what you do. Obviously, you know, get out the word. We want to get out the word
Yeah.
and let everybody know that you're running again, because we want them to go all the way down the ballot.
All the
Go
way
down the
down
ballot.
the
You
ballot.
have
Yeah.
to go down the ballot.
Got to.
If you're going to vote and you don't go down the ballot, you're not doing anyone any favors.
Go to the bottom for Beasley.
But
Bottom for Beasley. Well, actually, I'm not. I think the school board and all that stuff.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Mid-bottom.
I'm
I
almost
was saying it as it was coming out. I thought that is
bottom of the barrel. Bottom of the barrel for Beasley.
oh my gosh. We're just going to pretend that last
Yes.
little bit just didn't happen.
Well,
But we know you got to go because you've got work to do and you've got people to serve.
I do.
So thank you again for coming by
Yeah.
today.
and thank you for all you
And,
do.
and
really.
next time, let's not make it so long before you come back.
Oh, I know.
know.
I
We
love the
miss you.
radio show.
Let's bring you back after November and let's talk election results.
Yeah, let's
and,
do that. That's always
yeah.
fun.
we should put a team together for that.
I know.
Do we have any good? What are the hot races we think? I mean, I know we're kind of more in the general, but there's got to be some.
Well, you know, locally there's some school board races that are going to be hot, both in, I know, Conroe
you know, the
ISD
Woodlands
and
Township has stuff going on
and
too.
Yeah.
Woodlands Township races. I mean, they have one position that I think there are 5 people competing for that spot. Same with some of these school board races. It's going to be crazy. And it's great that we're seeing so many people wanting to get more involved in local politics and everything. But I think there's going to be lots to talk about. Plus, we got a lot of national stuff we'll be able to talk about too.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to let Judge Beasley get out of here so he can go do his work. But thanks again for coming by.
Absolutely.
We'll be
right.
back in just a minute.
Hey, tune in to the Bridge Podcast TX Tuesdays at 11 a.m., where we are connecting commerce with community, interviewing business owners and leaders in the community, allowing the audience to peek behind the curtain of what inspires, motivates, drives these individuals to have meaningful, positive impact in this community. For more information about the show, log into irlonestar.com/TBPTX.
𝗏 Institute, a 501c3 nonprofit, began in 2014 with a mission to strengthen the future of veterans through leadership and entrepreneurship training. We've invested over 1,400 hours of training in our veterans while connecting them with community entrepreneurs and leaders. Our mission is to continue investing in our veterans who have given so much for our country. Please join us in our mission by visiting 𝗏institute.org. That's VELinstitute.org.
Welcome back, everybody, to Toast to the Town with Kristi and Mel. We have gotten rid of our guest.
Oh, that's so sad. Hey, do you know what? We need to toast him.
Yes,
He
absolutely.
is truly one of the best in Montgomery County.
He is. And he just runs, and
Such
we've
an
had the
efficient
privilege
court,
of working
yeah.
with him, but he runs an outstanding campaign because people matter, and he lives that. It's
Yeah.
not just
It's
people
not
matter.
well. It's not just a campaign lifestyle.
Slogan, right.
It really is a lifestyle, and he works hard. He puts a lot of hours in, and and when you hear about some of the tragedies that happen in and around Montgomery County, and you realize that you've got 5 JPs essentially, and sometimes our county judge that has to go out and certify these deaths and everything, and you can't, just the emotional toll that's got to take, especially with these guys working in their own precincts, because some of them, that's where they were born and raised, so they know
the people.
Yeah, they know the people. And when Judge Beasley was working for the sheriff's department, he worked with my brother, not for my brother. And I know what those guys went through too. So definitely not taking the easy route. Definitely one of the Woodlands High School's proud graduates. They should be very, very proud of the kind of guy that they graduated from there. So, but it's always good to have him here because he always has such great insights and is always willing to share so much great information.
And he's so funny.
He's so fun. And he's like the nicest guy. So if you see him out, you can always talk to him. And
just tell him you know him from the radio. He'll
that's
love
right.
that.
Yeah, and if you talk to him for a few minutes or see him out campaigning or he knocks on your door, offer him a glass of tea.
Yep.
He'll sit there and visit with you a bit. He's never in too much of a hurry, and and he's busy with his 3 kids and just rocking and rolling nonstop all the time.
Well, I agree, and if you do see him and you don't take the opportunity to get to know him, it is your loss.
It is your loss, people.
Your loss, people.
Absolutely.
Get to know him. What do we got going on in town?
It is Labor Day weekend. Hallelujah.
It is.
And it is Wednesday, which is close enough to Friday for us to be toasting.
Hello.
So, here's to Labor Day weekend. I had some plans. We've got, things have been going on. Everything's been so busy. The weather's been crazy. They're saying there might rain. There's so much going on. But there's some great things happening locally. So that way, you're not having to travel out of town. You're not having to spend a lot of money on gas and hotel rooms. Because let's face it, hotel rooms over a 3-day weekend, number one, are usually a lot higher. But number two, usually require at least a two-night minimum.
Yep.
So this weekend, there's some cool things going on. First, I'm going to start off with the City of Conroe's free concert series. They actually have a show coming up tomorrow night. It is Mike and the 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏. Now, if you're not a Mike and the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 fan, then you haven't listened to Mike and the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. And that goes on at Heritage Park. You can bring your lawn chairs. They have food trucks out there. You can bring your bottled water, bring a little cooler, whatever. But it's always so much fun, and it's completely free. It's put on by the City of Conroe. Just a really cool thing that they do to bring people in. And then you've got, then you're in downtown Conroe Thursday night, so you have all the great nightlife spots.
Light knife.
Whatever. Spots going on. So lots of fun that you've got going on here. That's Thursday night. Now, this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, stuff going on every night. On Saturday, Southern Star is hosting Sundown Funtown at Southern Star Brewery. excuse me, the bubbles are getting to me. They've got Chubby Knuckle Choir, they've got Mike Donnell, they've got Chad Prather.
Oh.
And for those of you that have never heard Chad Prather, who ran for governor, you're totally missing out. If they just had him by himself, it would be worth going. So that's going on Saturday. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I like to still say my good friend, even though I haven't talked to him personally in a while because he's been a bit busy. Cody Hibbard is going to have shows going on at Pacific Yard House. On Friday, he's got Justin Boltonen. I don't know him, but if he's playing with Cody, then I'm like willing to give it a chance. Saturday, he's playing with Jeff Canada. That's going to be at Pacific Yard House.
Okay, I have something to add.
Yes.
I've never met Cody. Okay,
Oh, great guy.
I know that, but because you have worked with him in the past, I kind of feel like
Right.
I look
Like you know
I look
him.
out for him. Like
We're
I know
family.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We're
Yeah.
fam. And do you know that when he after a show, he personally writes a post. I can tell it's personal because of something he says in
Yeah.
it. And he personally writes a post after I'm going to say most of his appearances and talks about what a great night it was and the people that were there
and the venue and
and the
everything.
venue. Yeah, and I'm just like, who does that anymore?
know.
What a nice guy. It's like thank you notes that your mom told you to write when you were a
Exactly.
kid. I'm
Well,
impressed.
You know, and it was cool. So Monday, I was in College Station doing some college tours with Katie. And, of course, when in College Station,
Yes.
you go to the Dixie
Dixie.
Chicken for lunch. So we go and order our burgers, and we go sit down, and we're waiting for them to call our names. And Cody Hibbard comes on the radio. And something very cool about sitting in a place where I spent lots of hours, not only in college, but after and since. And you hear somebody that you met literally at an open mic night at Tuts here in Conroe. It's just very, very cool. So I'm glad that he's coming back, spending 3 nights here, supporting the city that really supported his start in the music business, and really great to see him. Also, Mason Merrick is going to be at the table at Madeley this weekend. Friday night, Rick Trevino is going to be at Margaritaville, which no doubt will be a great time. And then at Red Brick Tavern, Hamilton Loomis is going to be playing there Saturday. And then you've got the market coming on Sunday, Conroe Sunday Market. So, you know, if you want to get out for an hour or two or more, there's lots of stuff going on here locally, like there always is.
Yep. And then that's Labor Day weekend. And then what happens after Labor Day?
Oh, it's going to be the start of the finish of political season. We've got
Exactly.
2 months going crazy. I know.
It's the last 2 months.
The week after Labor Day, you see lots of different political events. I know Constable Cash has one coming
Right.
up. We have Morgan Luttrell has one coming up next week.
I think he has 2 in 1 week.
Well,
if I'm
he
not
has
mis-
one next
Into
week,
1
and then
week
one,
and the
yeah.
first of the next week. Okay.
And then they're coming pretty hard and heavy. It's going to be a really busy September and October. And then you go to the second week of October, and you've got the Conroe Cajun Catfish Festival that is going to be fantastic as well. We have an event coming up for Judge KEO. We've got events coming up in Jefferson County, so we're busy.
The Conroe Orchestra.
Conroe Symphony Orchestra is coming
like
up.
the 15th of October. I think.
So lots of stuff going on. In addition to all the great new businesses and venues that we have in downtown Conroe, you've got 202 Main, you've got Moco Food Hall, you've got Pacific Yard House that's been there for a while, you've got
Madeley.
Foss Brewing,
Table.
you've got the table at Madeley, you've got Blue Epiphany Winery. And Blue Epiphany, you know, I think people don't see it as visibly because it's a little bit further down the sidewalk. But they've got their big place over
Right.
in on the northern
75.
part of the city. But they have this great tasting room, and they've got some fun events coming up at Blue Epiphany in downtown Conroe, including a Pinot Noir tasting that's going to be coming up, I think, tonight. So lots of cool stuff coming in. There's always something going on. So we like to try to give you at least a little bit of a taste of what's going on, but if we tried to cover everything, we'd be
couldn't.
here for days.
But I think the main thing that everybody should realize is that sometimes life, well, it just stinks.
Yes.
Okay, and sometimes we get down with it. But if you want a lift, if you want to be around friends, all you got to do is pull your boots on, head on down to the square in Conroe, and there's plenty to do.
Yeah.
And you can find people that'll go other places with you too. You don't
Oh
have
yeah,
to,
you
don't
can
have to
always
be at
stop in the
square.
corner pub, meet some new friends. They'll travel all over with you, but yeah, it's a great day to be living here in Conroe
is.
and Montgomery County and
Absolutely
the
it
state
is.
of Texas and the greatest country in the world. But lots of stuff going on, lots of things we're going to be covering over the next couple of months leading up to the general election on November 1st.
And
Great
since
things
we
coming.
have just a second, and I know it's just a second, let's add that if you are part of an organization or you are an individual who helps an organization, we would love to talk to you, because we think we think Southeast Texas cares about you and what you're doing and the organizations who help people. And even if it's a profitable organization where you do something that's worthy, we would love to talk to you.
Yeah.
We really would. So be sure and drop us a message
Yeah,
on Facebook
let
if
us
you
know.
want to. And our phone numbers are on there too. So y'all
Shoot us an
give
email,
us- give us a
whatever,
call,
you know?
text us.
We're very connectable.
We are.
Very
Somebody said something one time, I didn't know your number. I said, oh, please. I'm the most
Just Google it.
findable person in Southeast Texas.
Exactly. But so everybody out there listening, make sure you're paying attention to the weather. We're obviously getting into the hot and heavy part of hurricane season, but have a great, safe, wonderful Labor Day weekend. Make sure that you tune in every Wednesday. You can watch us
Yes.
live on Facebook and on YouTube Live. On IR Lone Star, you can also find us on Moxie Innovatives page every Wednesday at
Toast
noon.
to the Towns page,
And Toast the Towns page.
not Moxie's page.
Well,
Well,
okay.
there's two.
I know. Well, but on our YouTube page.
Oh,
Yeah,
YouTube.
see?
See, Dick, we've got to divide this out. Go ahead.
Anyway, y'all make sure y'all tune in every Wednesday. We're going to bring you the best of Montgomery County, and we're going to toast along with you.
Happy
So
Labor-
cheers. Happy Labor Day. We'll see you next week.